So this is King Skayla in the hole. My name's Sophie Truniel. This is in the hole. How did you start doing what you're doing now? And also, what would you say that you do right now? Like, would you call it influencing or like modeling or like what do you?
I've always called it modeling. I know that influencing is what everybody calls models these days, because to be a model now you're expected to like do your own social media management, do your content, do your marketing. Like for me, I've always considered myself a model. I came here when I was 2. I was born in the Dominican Republic.
Okay.
But when I came here, I needed to learn English so I could begin preschool. So my mom thought the best way to do that was to put me in an art school for modeling, ballet, dance, and etiquette. I didn't really take to dance, but I stayed in ballet, etiquette, and modeling. And then after I graduated, I think I was like 8 or 10. It was like the junior school. We couldn't really afford like the preteen school for the older kids. So I just started going to regular school because that was the whole point, for me to learn English, etiquette, etc., get accustomed to the norms. But once I went to middle school, like I really still wanted that. So once I got into high school and I got that freedom to do it, I started going, on Instagram, posting random stuff. I learned how to digitally edit because I lived in like an urban neighborhood. So I knew that that wasn't really what people were looking for online. So I learned how to Photoshop so that my backgrounds could look nicer. I started styling myself because I realized everyone had designer, but I couldn't afford that. So it's like if I become a stylist, I could possibly pull these pieces, etc. And then from that, I had people reach out to me for social media management. And that's when I was like, oh my God, I can make money from doing this. So I started charging for styling, digital editing, social media management. And my first customer was actually like a hairstylist. Shout out to Nay Finesse. And then from there, I started working in New York Fashion Week for free as an intern for like Christian Cohen, people of the likes. And it was fun. It was really fun. But once I started collecting customers for social media management, I realized that's really where the money was. And that would help fund my modeling and my own concepts and my own projects. And that's how now I'm able to just not necessarily like do whatever project or do whatever picture, but come up with my concepts and fund them through those little like side hustles. But I do still have a regular job, and I always have.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So there's a lot of balancing. There's a lot of being super resourceful then too. But how's working in New York Fashion Week? That's the norm, right? Is to do free intern work.
Yeah, so I did that during high school.
Oh,
yeah,
okay,
but that's why I was okay with me, because I did it during high school and I still had a regular job.
When was the first instance of like social media management like reaching out to you? Like was that like through
16 through Instagram? I had a hairstylist. I would always get wigs done. I would always get fun installs. And the girl who was doing my hair, she noticed what I was doing and she asked to put me in like a contract. And I would do about 4 photo shoots a month, get all her models styled, and I would do all the content and make the TikTok edits, the pictures, the flyers for her Instagram, post 3 times a day. And that's now the setup that I have for like most of my clients as well.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So did you have like a blueprint going into this, or were you very like caring about a backdrop? That didn't used to be important.
It didn't used to matter. For me, it was more about fighting to be seen as a real model, because I knew my background, I knew what I looked like. I knew that I didn't have the lifestyle that all the other models had. But since I was so young, I didn't realize, I was looking at the people who had already made it. I wasn't looking at the people who were in my age range, in my demographic, or living my lifestyle. I was always looking up at the highest models. Like, I was like, oh my God, I want to be Linda Evangelista. Like, I want to be Naomi status. Like, I wasn't, because I was so young, I didn't realize there were levels to it. So all of those different aspects and things that I took on to work was just to legitimize me as a model or keep me around the fashion industry, because that really is my passion. And now that I've done that, I feel like it really has worked. I'm just so grateful that I started so young, because now I feel like a lot of the things that are happening right now, like trends and like these, like, I don't want to like say any specific apps because that's so messed up, you know what I mean? But like, I want to say like Twitch, OF, those types of modeling. Like, I'm glad I started young, that now I can differentiate what type of model I want to be. Yeah. Because now the modeling industry has so many different types of umbrellas under it, and it's so oversaturated that you never know what you're getting into, and it can be a dangerous place.
It's very quick to like pigeonhole or like
transform you into something else.
Yeah, because of being in the concept of a digital footprint only started existing maybe when I was like 14. I know like there were like YouTubers that wanted to be actors, but they're known as YouTubers and they can't get away from the branding of
We
being
have
connected
had
to that.
successful stories like Addison Rae, Quenlin
Yeah.
Blackwell,
Yes.
Alex
Yeah.
Gonzani.
Yeah, exactly.
With Alex Gonzani, the way she blew up was the way I had always imagined I'd blow up. So I remember watching that and be like, damn it, there it goes. I was always like, oh, let me show my personality on TikTok. Maybe that'll get me
Yeah.
traction. But now that we have Alex did that, we know it's possible. Now it's like, okay, everyone's gonna do that. Like everyone's
Yeah.
trying to do that. So I feel like right now it's more like Addison, follow your calling even if everyone's telling you it's not it.
Yeah.
Just follow your heart.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I can't tell you how many times, like when I was younger, people would be like, oh, I wouldn't do that or I shouldn't do that. And now everybody wants to do it.
Yeah,
So it's
authenticity is like highest value
it
right
is.
now.
Even if it makes you the bad guy. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Because I do truly believe that everyone could have like a crowd of at least 100 people like resonating with and loving what they're hearing. And social media, it's great because it's provided an opportunity to do that. But I think now people are like trying to do like the Alex Consani thing or like mimicking it to try to, when like the ideal is just if everyone is super themselves, it'll work out.
Exactly.
It just happens that like I think people like seeing like I'm such a Quen Blackwell fan.
Yeah, me too.
Like,
I love
I'm
her.
obsessed.
I love her so much.
And she is also like incredible because she's doing everything and she's taken seriously when she's doing something serious, and she's like hysterical and people think she's so entertaining. But like I think people seeing those sorts of not even like influencers, but like like seeing someone be successful and be appreciated for that high level of authenticity when being authentic is literally like screaming on the street, frankly. Like that is such a relief for people to hear and see when like the most true version of me wouldn't even be that like robust. So it's a real relief to see that like people can be accepted, and also people can be accepted when they're shifting and changing. Like Addison Rae used to be a completely different person. Or like I think all of us used to be completely different people. Like I feel like we're all changing.
And I always say that if you look closely, there are seeds of those characters that were eventually created in their past selves. Like even now, like the person who I've become today, I see seeds of who I am today back when I was younger, and I'm like, oh, that's where I got that from. That's where I got that from. If you look at Addison or Quenlin, you can see that throughout their come up. You know what I mean? Like Addison with the different hair colors, the headphones, the sweater, like those small things she used to incorporate back then. But it just wasn't her branding.
Part of the reason why I want to do these interviews, because like if I interview you in like 3 months from now or something, like we might see the seed of something that like
and
we
it's so
didn't
crazy because when you called to interview me, I was like, what do I have going on that is worth interviewing? Like I was flattered, but at the same time I was like, oh my god, like I have nothing going on. And just like a few days later I got mad stuff, and I was like, oh, this is fun, yay, like now I have something to say. But at the end of the day, like those bookings and those things don't matter, because now that I'm sitting here, I'm realizing it's really about me, like as a person in my story. It's not about like what bookings or what brands, like it doesn't matter. Like even if I had nothing going on, you know, my story is worth telling, and so is everyone else's.
Yeah, and I think when we look back, it gets flattened anyways. And like this time could either be flattened into like the time you got to deal with X, Y, and Z clients, or it could be the time that like you were finding out this thing about yourself that ended up being like your MO work later. Not that I didn't reach out to you for a purpose, but like there is a story in everyone. It's just that normally the thread line becomes clear way after the fact. And so I want to do it now before we know what it is.
And I love that because I never talk about it, and I always realize that when I'm like auditioning for big names, I'm like, okay, what's my story? And then I start recounting, and I'm like, wow, this is actually kind of deep. Like,
just having people have an opportunity to talk about their work too, because I think a lot of us are in the hustle so much. Like, no matter what the discipline is, like in any medium, people are just like going. I'm always thinking about the future project. I want every project to be better than the last project, and then I lose sight a little bit of like why I started. Are these the ideal projects for me? Are these leading to where I'm trying to actually get to? And like that moment of reflection, like we don't get a lot of time for that. Sometimes for the best too, because on the other hand, if I was spending all this time reflecting, like if half my time was reflecting, that would be half less time working maybe. But
I feel like when we're in the hustle and we're in the flow of things, we don't really think about how this will affect our future or our present. we're doing it because we know it's what we should be doing, and we know that we used to beg for things like this. So we're like, to turn it down would be me being ungrateful. You know what I'm saying? And it does always help because, you know, you're stacking up that portfolio. But at the same time, we do need to learn to live in the moment.
Yeah.
And, you know, and enjoy the fruits of our labor.
Yeah.
You know?
There's a lot of pressure. Like, I think our generation especially, there's so much pressure to do the thing that we should do. This is my theory on why this generation is so depressed and, like, anxiety ridden, is because partially because of social media and maybe just like a cultural shift, but we're seeing the other side of the world. We're seeing all these other lives that have less than us, that have more than us, and we're constantly like being made to feel more grateful. When I think if we used to not see it, one, I don't think people would be comparing themselves with other worlds as
and
much.
that's what I've realized too. And especially if you're gonna be online anyway. So I've always said, like, look at people who look like you. Look at people who come from where you come from, who live where you live. It's okay to venture out and see other parts of the world. That's what our phones are for. You know what I mean? But when you find yourself comparing and contrasting, that's when you need to go back into your own demographic. Look at people with your body type, that look like you, that like what you like. You know what I mean? Reset your For You page, your Explore page to your interests and your likes, so that when you get on your phone, it doesn't become like a black cloud. It becomes like inspiration instead. Yeah.
If it's too many things that are like clearly making me feel worse about myself, I have to reset it. And right now, like, I think my TikTok is well maintained as like, it's like video essays on things that interest me.
We could go through it right now and it would be like
it's like all stuff that's making me inspired. And I know that there's a problem when I start being jealous of things that I wouldn't be jealous of unless I was surrounded by it. It would be a bad sign if I was jealous of, like, someone winning an Olympic medal, for instance. Yeah. Because that was not my path. Exactly. It never was my path. It was never going to be my path. I'm not interested in that path. That's why I'm on mine. Yeah. Like, you really have to love your path so that you can dedicate. Exactly. Because you might not know how far this path could go if you're so focused on the other options.
Exactly. And you'll never know how you can improve upon yourself or get yourself to that level. If you're looking at someone else's journey, you're not living yours. The best way to exhibit and live in gratefulness is to just live every day. Yeah. You know, take it to the full extent, take advantage of every day, live to the fullest. Yeah. Because that is how you express your gratitude for everyday life. You just live, you know what I mean? And if we're like looking at our phones, comparing, contrasting, we're not living.
Yeah. Living in the moment really quickly conflates itself to becoming maximizing and like optimizing. And I think it's really hard to not get into the headspace where it's like, if I am on TikTok for an hour just getting inspired by TikTok, like, I'm better at this now, but it's easy to fall into, like, I'm being lazy or I'm wasting time. Like, living in the moment is working 24/7, but that's not necessarily true. Yeah. So what do you do, one, to not get overwhelmed? Or are there any, like, passive things you do to, like, help make progress that's not in so much of a hustling way, but like...
It's really hard for me to not get overwhelmed because I find myself every week like, damn, I overbooked again. You know what I mean? But what I try to do is I try to set one day from the week to hang out with my friends. We'll do like a pop-up or something. We'll go like New York City for free and like find a fun pop-up. Or we'll like meet up and go out for happy hour somewhere, and that will be like my time to hang out with them, catch up, decompress. Or... well, this is usually all within the same week, actually. I'll try to, like, either play with my DS or read a book or something. And typically it's a book from my personal library. So it's like, if I don't finish it, I know the ending. So, like, I'm cool. I'm just, like, revisiting a world that I, like, love. Oh, nice. You know what I mean? Or I'll really just let myself scroll for a day. Like, I'll have a day set aside where I just, like, do whatever I want. Oh, because great. If you do that, then you're letting yourself do it. It's like when people say, don't deprive yourself of sweets. Have a sweet if you want one, because then you're gonna have it later anyway. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, if you stop yourself, you're gonna eat it anyway.
Yeah, like, it's
that's
gonna
what I
happen
try
one
to
day.
do. Yeah,
because it would be unrealistic to be like, I'm never gonna play a video game again.
Yeah, and then when it comes to like shoots and stuff, I feel like when it comes to like concepts that I come up with, I feel like I can go very overboard. So I try to keep it to a minimum. Like, is this really necessary? Like, do I really need this photo shoot? Like, what is this really doing for me?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I can feel that, like you said, it does become excessive.
Yeah.
And I'm always like, what's the next big thing? Like,
Yeah.
So after a while, like, I just started saving shoots. Like, if I already had something posted, I'm like, I'm just gonna save that and I'll post it when I have nothing.
Yeah.
So then I don't feel the need to, like, be so excessive or, like, do things when I don't have the time to do things, because I feel like, oh, they're gonna forget about me. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah, making sure that there's a way to make it sustainable, I think, is so important, especially because we're all thinking about our portfolios and making sure we can show a bulk of work. I think sometimes being younger, or maybe just being in this generation, like, we're worried about being perceived as, like, lazy or not good, or, like, less experience, and so we have to overcompensate by having, like, really amazing portfolios.
And then if they don't see you as lazy or inexperienced, they'll see you as experienced, but they'll see you as arrogant because you know what you're doing and you're very so sure of yourself. So it's like, either way, it's bad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's a lose-lose. Like,
there's a lot of, like, being like a yes man.
Yeah.
Or, I mean, sometimes the if I wasn't like, you're supposed to be young, you're supposed to be eager, you're supposed to be yes man, you're supposed to say yes. But then if I started saying no, like, that would add to the arrogance.
I feel like I have to act like a yes man, even though I'm not. I feel like I have to be all the time. So, like, oh my God, yes, I love that. Like, let's do it. Oh my God, I'm so down. Like, oh my God, yay. Like, oh, I love this picture, even though I'm never gonna post it because it's ass. Like, and it's like, I feel bad because I'm like, I'm sure they can tell, but I know, like, if I can tell it's not, 10 out of 10, I know you can tell it's 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna say that, because then I'll be the angry girl.
Yeah.
So I can't say, I don't want to be seen as, like, the angry black woman or the loud mixed girl. So I'm just gonna, like, pretend I like it and then take my L. Because it's like, what can I do? You know what I mean?
Yeah. And you can't have, like, a bad work or just, like, inaccurate work on a portfolio, because then you're going to get more of that. It's, like, not even manifesting. It's like you're asking for more. It's not even that.
It's like, if you just don't like it and you don't feel proud to post it, don't feel forced. Don't do it. And that's something that I've told myself. Because I'm like, if I know that I'm not comfortable with this image, or I don't feel I look my best, I'm not posting it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it's like, people do that every day. With group pictures, like little selfies, like stuff like that. So it's like, it's not that serious.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it is about the way you go about it. And I feel like that's why a lot of people have to adapt that, oh my God, yes, I love it mentality. Because if not, then you'll get booted. Like,
yeah. This is like a mini episode, like a teaser episode. Thank you, King Skayla. I'll start calling you King Skayla, and
I appreciate you.
I'll make sure everyone catches on.
Barbie, Skayla, King Skayla is fine. Because,
Oh, and where can we find you? What's your @
King.Skayla.
Love.
Yes.
Okay, amazing.